Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to the fan takeaways as we recap and open a can of worms on the game that was against the Fremantle Dockers yesterday at the G. We fall by a point. It's time for all things black and white. Hello all. I hope we're feeling a little bit better this evening compared to how we were probably feeling this time yesterday when I was feeling flat. But as the days go by and as we get closer to the next game, we don't forget just yet. We come here and we have a chat, open up the conversation, see where everyone stands with this. It's a mixed camp, I feel like, with this game. I feel like some people are really disappointed, some people are upset, some people are willing to cop that and accept that, all right, well, that game plays out another 10 times. Collingwood would probably win that. So there's different camps. So here we are. But also, thank you for all of those who reached out after the post game. I had too much food at the G, and I ate before the game. I was in the long room, and I was in the restaurant there, and had 3 plates of a lot of meat. I just never recovered. I had the hiccups the whole game, and I got to the post game, and I think, like, if you guys go watch the last 5 minutes of that post game show, or even if you go to the last 30 seconds, my face just turned. And I ended up having to spew. So, but we're back. I'm going to have a quickies, I think it is, the indigestion medication just in arm's reach. If I didn't drink, man. So I think it's a bit goes towards just eating a bit slower and chewing, because I don't do that. I just get the food in me. And then there's part to it, just eat a bit slower, chew, and maybe mix the variety of food as well. But I didn't drink. Maybe it was the Coca-Cola as well. Who knows? But anyways, we moved. Malaka, Ella, Remani. Was plenty out on the park. Just need a W against the Tigers to get that winning feeling back. Look, that's just where we are. That's just where we are right now. And we don't have that luxury, that buffer anymore. So here we go. The porcelain bus. What does that mean, Peter G? Talk to me. Yeah, well, also with the fan cams, guys, for those who are in early, I'm going to relocate it to StreamYard again. Because Discord, for that capacity of people and trying to get the order right, I think it's going to be a lot more convenient on StreamYard, where you can actually choose to show your face as well. So for those streams, we'll be on StreamYard. You jump into the studio, you wait, and then I bring you onto the main stage, and we go from there. Be present. Yeah, I'm very aware of mindful eating, RJ, but I used to do that. I did that for a few months, where you take your time eating, you chew as much as you can, you make observations on the plate and all this sort of stuff, but it just got boring for me, if I'm being honest. MD, I've slept on it and thinking about it now, we're still sitting top. If you asked me at the start of the season where we would be at this time, I'll take it 100%. 100%. Need to put Dan Gorringe back in his chair. All right, let's get into this fan takeaways, why don't we? But just as I say that, Benny Zero, bonus KFC takeaway. Thanks for the 5, mate. Dean, Oleg, Allen are worlds apart from Howe, Houston, and Frampton. Fair call. I think Howe is our most important player. I'll die on that hill right now. Oleg had a bad game, did too much. Allen wasn't busy enough. And Houston and Frampton are what they are. Luke, welcome. Or Matthew. Nicole, how are you? How was your Monday? When you're spewing up in a toilet bowl, I got you, Peter. I got you. I'm with you. Still peeking about yesterday, watching a replay. Yeah, look, just one of those ones. Probably just lacked a bit of cleanliness going inside 50 and just let us down in the end. That's all right. Bad mistake. All right. Let's get into it. Why don't we? Let's do it. Fan takeaways. Let's open up the comments. Here it is. Yes. All right. Comment number 1. So for those who aren't familiar with the fan takeaways, by the way, if you head over to pies_footy on Instagram, you can follow pies_footy. After the game, immediately you should see a story on the profile asking what your takeaways are from the game. There's a bunch of entries, so you won't get your name tagged along with the entry anymore, but I sort of just try and collate as many of the comments, and if there's 2 or 3 that are quite similar, I just sort of mesh that into one, if that makes sense. So let's see what we got. So Bo set to be permanent mid. Now, with Bo on Sunday being yesterday, he spent quite a lot of time in the midfield, and I'd argue that would have been the most amount of time he's spent in the midfield in his career in a single game. Let me just double check that. So centre bounce percentage. So before tonight, or before Sunday, he spent a little bit more time in 2024 in round 12 against the Dogs. I think we all remember that game where we sort of fell apart late. He attended 55% of the centre bounces, whereas yesterday 44 was his second highest for his career. So there is an emphasis on getting Bo into the midfield more often than not. And I love it. I love his speed. I love his attack, the tackling pressure he provides. He's just he's a nuisance. He's an absolute nuisance for the opposition. And the moment he, how many touches did he have yesterday? 15 touches, 15 tackles. Like, I'd take that from a pressure player. When we are fit and firing, I feel like I've been saying that for weeks now. When we're fully fit and healthy, his midfield rotation will go down, of course. But I still think we'll find him in those centre bounces. Especially if Jordy De Goey gets healthy, you probably see Bo take a bit of a hit. But we actually had, I really liked the midfield makeup that we had yesterday. I felt like so many players went through the midfield yesterday. I just want to double check. It's probably one of our most versatile sort of mixes of players going through the middle yesterday. Let's have a look. So you had Ned Long, who went through, Scott Pendlebury, Nick Daicos, 48%, Bo, 44%, Jack Crisp, 37%, Josh Daicos, 22%. Still Sidebottom played largely on a wing. McStay played, I think maybe attended one ruck contest in the middle. Mason Cox, 20%, and then DC was 80%. So it's a good mix. Look, statistically, I thought we went well. Let's have a look at the clearances. We won the clearances. We won the contest. You know, it was just one of those games as well. Going inside 50, yes, there were times where we weren't clean going inside 50. But just the way we set up that territory, it was hard to always get the ball, get it inside 50, repeat stoppage after repeat stoppage. They bang it out. We intercept the ball, and then they defend well inside 50. It's like they parked the bus. Maybe it wasn't forced. I mean, maybe it wasn't tactical. It was forced because of the way we're able to impose ourselves in their defensive half. You know what game it kind of reminds me of? Let me know if you guys agree. It kind of reminds me of that game, that qualifying final against Melbourne, I think it was, in 2023, where they just owned territory, smashed us in every stat, and we managed to steal the win. I feel like it's just one of those games where you dominate, you own territory, and sometimes just doesn't go your way. Like, if you guys are wondering what my opinion is on how I feel about the game, I'll live with that. Yes, it sucks losing by a point. Taking the train home and walking past Dockers fans who are up and about and getting in your face, yes, it's annoying. We play sport to win games. Doesn't matter what game it is, what round it is, and all that sort of stuff. It sucks. But if I take off the scarf and I remove the emotion of being a devoted Collingwood fan, I'm not too fussed about the result because of how the game played out. We play like that in most games, then we'll be right. We'll be right. So that's Bo set to be permanent mid. That's the comment there that sort of went on a bit of a tangent there, but that's okay. Next one is we need Frampton and Jeremy Howe back. Watching the game back, if we're all being honest, it wasn't Darcy Moore's finest game. I felt like Darcy has had a pretty strong season. I felt like maybe in the Geelong game, he was a bit meh. Melbourne game was probably his worst game for the year. But then from there on out, he has been invincible. And it was to the point where he's winning his one-on-ones and being able to play loose at the same time. Just felt yesterday, okay, those kicks from centre bounce where Vossi beats him on the lead, fair enough. Like I think you live with that. There's not much you can do. Those leads were out into space. There was no pressure on the ball player in that centre bounce or from the stoppage. It's hard to contain that. But I think it was more so the second half, just watching back the game, where there were moments where Darcy was quite high and he would make an impact. He may get a spoil. He may flap at the ball. But it quickly resulted in an end-to-end transition for Fremantle because he wasn't able to stop the ball in motion. He got a hand onto it, but that's not enough, especially if you're the loose player who is coming across the play as that interceptor. But once again, I'm not going to overreact because and you know me, guys, I've had my qualms with Darcy Moore, but I don't think it's worth overreacting. I think he's been pretty commendable, more than commendable in the last 6 weeks, I would say. So no stress for me on Darcy Moore's front just yet. And when he gets troops back like Frampton and Howe, we'll be right. I think we'll be right. Like, it was almost as if Darcy Moore was trying to cover multiple players at once because he didn't trust someone like Charlie Dean. Braden Maynard having to play a bit taller or having to play more of a lockdown role. It's just, it does mess up with what you've become acquainted with who's around you. So I feel like that was another issue that we maybe don't factor in with Darcy Moore's performance yesterday. Moving on. They marked everything. And this sort of goes back to that conversation of we had all these inside 50s and we just couldn't find the quality. We couldn't find the quality in that second half. Yeah, there were a couple of kicks that came down with ice and Fremantle defenders would find a way to intercept the ball. By the end of it, guys, Fremantle only had 2 more intercept marks than us, despite us having 20 more inside 50s. I just think we could have got a little bit more from our stoppage work, considering there was not a lot of opportunity for us to flow from end to end. I think scoring 5 goals, 5-5-35 to 4-1-25, our favour from stoppages, I probably think we didn't get bang for buck. We had 5 more scoring shots from stoppages. I think, well, obviously, if we kick 1 more goal from that score source, we win. And I imagine a majority of the stoppages that were had in that game were obviously in our forward half. So that's how I read read that game. That's right. Take 3 starting defenders out of any side and they will struggle. That's right, Voidoid. Voss was too physically strong for more. I mean, he got a couple free kicks, didn't he, as well, Patrick Voss? Now, one of the comments were, it was a bad week to rest players. So who was rested? First and foremost, Tim Membry. And then if you want to include Tom Mitchell in that conversation, fair enough. He was listed as managed. And it sounds like if you have listened to Fly's post-game interview, it sounds like he's trying to get back, or it sounds like, Tom Mitchell is going to play against Richmond. So I'm not sure if he's foreshadowing that Tom Mitchell is in our best 23, or if he's potentially foreshadowing that we will rest players again and that will allow Tom Mitchell to come back into the side. So it's intriguing. It's tricky at this time of the year to be flirting with the midfield makeup and all that sort of stuff. But I suppose we will see. We'll find out more. I'm hoping we can get Bobby Hill and Daicos playing in some capacity. The Tim Membry one is an interesting one. I understand you had your kid. Congratulations. But just play the game, surely. Just play the game, man. Just play the game. Like, he trained, yeah. He trained all week, Tim Membry. He trained when I was at main training. He was there. He trained. He did? Yeah. But he doesn't play the game. Just play the game. You know? I understand you had a kid. The kid's not going anywhere. Anyways, that's how I feel about Tim Membry. And yeah, just we just don't have that luxury to rest players. Even against Richmond. I don't want to be walking out of that game with pie on my face. I don't want cake on my face. I don't want anything. I don't want yellow and black streamlining all over my face. I don't know. I want us to beat them, and we need to start hitting our straps now. We've lost 2 in a row. Finals around the corner. It's time to... Doesn't matter who we're playing now. You've just got to have your best side playing. Get the synergy, to get the chemistry going. Get the juices flowing again. So that's what we need to do. Another comment was 11 goals from 63 inside 50s. We are going to be okay. Pretty plain and simple. I would imagine, and maybe you guys can help me out in the chat, 63 inside 50s would have to be at least a season high for the Pies. And by the way, for those that are wondering, 62% of the game was spent in Collingwood's forward half, which is a big number. How big of a number? Let's see if we can find out what the average is for teams. Let me suss this out. So, Collingwood, typically, for an average game, and they're second in the league, they average 53% time of the game spent in their forward half. Yesterday, against Fremantle, 62%. So almost 10% above what our average has been for the year. That's just the way the cookie crumbles, ladies and gentlemen. Next one. Oh, goodness. What are our thoughts on this one? Can't call that a free kick with 2 minutes to go. So that was in relation to... Was it Jack Crisp and Shai Bolton running into each other? I'm not saying that should have been a free kick for Jack Crisp or whoever it was. But I'm saying that should have been a no call. Simply a no call. That late in the game, it's a contest. both players are going for the ball. There was no malice in it. It was just a collision. And it just ruined the moment. Like, if you guys remember that specific sequence, I was almost right behind it, watching that whole play unfold. We were cooked. Like, we were defensively, they had broken us to smithereens, smashed us to smithereens. But somehow, there were a few defensive efforts where we just managed to slow them down a little bit. Like, they had two players out in their forward 50, completely open, where 2 or 3 players just make hero plays to save us from conceding. And just as we were about to sort of steady the ship, the umpire calls the free kick back. Unbelievable. And that's just where I just think the players, the umpires, just need to put your whistle away there. Like, it's a bang bang call, as they say in basketball. Just put the whistle away. Don't let the late game moments hinge on decisions you've made that it seemed like they hesitated in making the decision. Andrew Jolly, what's your analysis of why Voss kicked the bag? Is he just a superstar or something systematic? I see a lot of people don't really rate Voss. Didn't rate him prior to going into this game. I think he's got a lot of energy. I think as we can see, he's got a bit of speed on him. He's strong. He's not key size, but he can present as one. The first few goals were just simple leading into space from centre bounce with plenty of space, winning contested duels, making umpires make a decision. I think Voss is a decent player. And to be frank, he's probably their second best forward right now because Jai Miss isn't really doing much. So from what I've seen with Patrick Voss, as much as he reminds me of a Tom Papley on steroids because of his celebrations, and as much as I despise that, I do rate him as a player. Like, he's a player you'd hate to see on the other side of the field, but if he's on your team, you love him. One of those ones. McStay had a bad game was also one of the comments on Instagram. So what did McStay give us statistically, and then we can talk about how he went. 8 touches, 6 contested possessions, 1 intercept possession, 1 clearance, 1 contested mark, 1 shot. I feel like McStay's so hot and cold, and maybe that's just been the story of his career, and that's why he hasn't broken out into superstardom, just because it just doesn't seem like sometimes he wants to dominate a game, if that makes sense. Like, there are games where you see him against Port Adelaide, you see him against Carlton. Who did he kick 4 goals? He kicked 4 goals against someone. Was it Carlton? It was. He kicked 4 goals against Carlton. You see that and you go, why can't this guy kick 2 goals a game? I mean, what's his career average? Or if I understand, maybe he played in the back line when he was within the formative years of his career. So I'll look at later in his career. Like, where he's played full seasons, he's lucky to average a goal and a half a season. So that's my challenge to Dan McStay, is going into his final series, he's just got to find a way to impose himself a little bit more. And I am a little, like, one of the things I am disappointed with going into this game or coming out of this game is we didn't see Dan McStay start in the back line. Yeah, he may have rolled back at times when we were under the pump, but he was never truly starting as a defender when the ball was bounced in the middle. That was my issue, one of my issues. Like, I feel like with the role that Tim Membry is being asked to play, he's executing that to a T. I feel like Myercheck is always busy. Yes, his accuracy can be frustrating at times, But I feel like this has been close to Mychek's best season in his career thus far. He just finds ways to stay active. McStay doesn't do that sometimes. Can understand our efficiency going inside 50 doesn't invite players like McStay into the game, but good players just find a way to stay busy. No, I'm pretty sure there'll be no dramas in the comment section or the chat here. No more Mason Cox. Well, 8 touches, 2 marks. I felt like Lipinski put the ball on a. What do they put the ball on his chest with the ribbon in the second quarter? It was in the second quarter. Laced him out inside 50 and he went for the chest mark and dropped it. And like, as soon as I saw that, I was thinking to myself, Tim Membry doesn't drop that. Tim Membry does not drop that. So that's ultimately the difference. It's a fine line. When Mason Cox is playing well, it's a fine line between, Tim Membry and Mason Cox. But I just feel like the last couple years, let's say this year especially, the very good and the very bad are too far between each other for Mason Cox. That's the problem. Whereas Tim Membry, his baseline is going to be here, always here. And he just hovers just either above or beneath it. So, unfortunately, that could spell the end of Mason Cox. It really could. Would love to see him play like he did against Gold Coast on a week-to-week basis and get another 2018 preliminary final performance like Mason Cox gave us that night. But you got to be playing well every week to get to that point to give yourself that chance. That's just the way it goes. Don't know what's happened with Coxie. Like he had his hands on a number of aerial contests yesterday, and they just don't stick anymore. Who knows how much the goggles impede his vision as well. Like he's not going to be one to complain and say, yeah, like it does bother me. And I think if you're wearing goggles, it definitely affects your ability to mark a footy, especially when you're looking up into the lights at the G. It makes things a bit more difficult. I could see that being a reason, but valid reason or not, is he marking the ball, yes or no? And if the answer is no, he has to make way. Simply just has to make way. So another comment was we are in a similar position as yesterday. Oh, sorry. Yes. We're in a similar position as 2023, where we'd lost 2 or 3 games in our final 5 or 6 in that year. We were sort of riddled with injuries. Nick Daicos, Darcy Moore, maybe Geordie De Goey missed some games in there as well. So it's not unfamiliar territory for the Pies right now. So far from panic stations for many reasons. Availability is short at the moment. We're playing really well in these losses. Came back against Gold Coast, dominated Fremantle, win that game more times than not. We've been in this position where we've been in losing positions later in the year, in a premiership year. We'll be fine. We can only trust that we'll be fine. What else do you want to say? What else do you want to say? Do you want to say we're cooked? Because now we go into Richmond. Hopefully, we should beat them, right? We should beat them. And go from there. Rebound. As Voido just pointed out there, our losing margins, barring that GWS game, it's not a lot, is it? We're in every game. That's the standard we hold. That's the standard that guys bring into the game. If they're going to lose, they're not going to lose badly, barring that GWS game. First game of the season, opening round doesn't count anyways. This one is just a comment without much context, but Josh Daicos is the better brother, so I'm not sure If that's in relation to, yeah, I don't even know why I included this one. This was just funny more than anything. I think this is more a testament to Josh just showing truly how good he actually is with that pill in his hands. Watching him live, and we talked about it in the back line, but watching him live in the midfield, his ability to mop up at ground level is what makes Josh Daicos such a threat in the middle as well. Just the ability to one take, gather the ball from the ground and dispose of it is one of his key pillars in his game. Who would have thought that this same guy, Josh Daicos, 6-7 years ago or whatever it was playing VFL on a pretty consistent basis, and now who knows what his... I don't even... Do you know what his ceiling is? I don't know what his ceiling is. I feel like we're just starting to scratch the surface of how good can Josh Daicos be in the midfield. He only spent 20% of his time in the midfield yesterday, but that was probably because we had no Dan Houston in the back line, and then when Nick Daicos wasn't there, Josh would have to go back, right? So we'll see. But this comment is more of a... I just wanted to include it to give Josh Daicos his flowers and open up that conversation. Right, next one. I think somebody said this earlier. I think it was Ben Zero as well. Dean and Markov not up to AFL standards, so I can cop that with Charlie Dean. I think we've all been on the same page with Charlie Dean over the last couple of weeks. From what we've seen, we've probably seen enough. But Markov, I wouldn't be dropping him. Would you guys be dropping him this week? I wouldn't. Yeah, he played his worst game yesterday, but I feel like he played his worst game yesterday, not because he was sloppy or fumbly or anything like that. It was more so he just tried to do too much with ball in hand. He had easy options, which is what we love Oleg Markov for. Is he on the defensive side of things? He's stubborn and works hard, and his energy is contagious. And then on the offensive front, he's normally just playing the easiest option. He wasn't doing that yesterday. Yesterday he was trying to take kicks and handballs like he was Nick Daicos. It's like stick to your strengths is what I'm saying. I'm sure he knows that. He'll watch back the tape and realize, oh well, why am I not using that option and why am I trying to do this option? So I'm happy with Oleg Markov in for the time being. We'll probably be able to sort of talk about it a little bit more in the predicted... We will do the predicted 23 tomorrow. So that will be the plan there. How many Creedon brothers in here? Elare Manoli. Markov still not in our best side though. I read a comment. They said Dean and Markov can Fargov. That's a good one. All right. So I'll tend to the chat a little bit more, guys. So if you have any questions or if you have any takeaways from the game as well, keep pumping them through because now the floor is yours. Just let me know what you guys think and we can go from there. Yeah, I'm genuinely not sure where Markov stands when it comes to best 23. But for now, I'm happy to keep him in at this point. Did Mark Keane and Jack Madgen get more opportunity than Charlie Dean to develop though? I feel like Jack Madgen and Mark Keane played when we were struggling, no? Let's have a look. Let's have a look at Mark Keane. The thing is, that's a tough question to answer, I'll be honest. Did Jack Madgen and Mark Keane get more time? Did they not play while we weren't great? Like, I feel like Charlie Dean's playing in a timeline in Collingwood's history where we are one of the great teams right now. But when these guys were playing, like 2020 again, There you go. And you look, how many games did Mark Keane actually play for Collingwood? He played 5 games. In 2020, we were dog shit. 2021, we were deplorable when he played 5 games. So, and then if we want to have a look at Jack Madgen, I imagine he played when we struggled for the most part as well, and he wouldn't have played when we were doing well for the most part. Or he would have been a fringe player. So he played 4 games in 2018 when we were great. He played 4 games in 2019 when we were great. He played a lot of games in 2020 and 2021 when we were dog shit. And then he got pushed out of the side in 2022 as we started to come up. So that is the logic there. Keane has been solid for Adelaide though, of course. Mark says, the Crows will be playing for top spot on the ladder and Collingwood just need to get back to winning form and stop losing close games. Since 2023, Collingwood only won 4 close games, lost 8, drawn 2. We had opportunities in every game to win these close games. We were in front for the most part against Freo. We got back in front against Gold Coast and we had a chance after the siren against Geelong where we were, 3-4 goals down with 4 minutes to go? How many teams are putting themselves back into a potential winning position after being 3 or 4 goals down with a couple minutes to go? Malaka, you are going to training this week. Keep a close eye on Geordie. I know what we need, the Raging Bull back, just a different beast, that bloke. So I think main training should be on Thursday, so I will be there. I'll keep a close eye on him. He looked good last week. Hopefully he can look just as good. AB, I don't think Dean was that bad yesterday. Keane was worse than Dean after 5. Backline, tough gig. Madgen was a bit better. I'm not saying Dean is at the level, but I think he has more in him. Maybe he has more in him, but he just doesn't have more in him right now, unfortunately. Not in this side. There's no space. Dodger says, we're no longer the close game specialist anymore. That's both upsetting and concerning. I mean, what's the typical record for the average AFL side in clutch games? Hasn't been great this year, sure. Rick DeGoey will play VFL this week. I would love DeGoey to be a sub for the Pies and come on at halftime or halfway through the third and just run riot. But I can understand that if he's not ready for a full game of footy, he can't be the sub for us against Richmond because if someone, knock on wood, gets injured early, he'll be asked to play a full game. We can't afford that. Dion says, felt like our forwards were always behind their defenders. We didn't play in front of them once. I know someone that would have fixed that yesterday, Tim Membry. Can't keep resting players against top 8 teams. I understand the management side of things. Last 2 weeks, we were still in winning positions in both of those games. We win those games. Are we saying we shouldn't have rested those players? I can see more of a case for this game against Freo though, where we already have a bunch of injuries. Why are we managing players if we already have a bundle of injuries that are keeping us from being our best possible version? Dean brings tackle pressure, which Madgen... Come on, guys. We're not actually having this Jack Madgen and Mark Keane discussion. I just showed you. Mark Keane played in 2020 and 2021, where we were shocking. He played 5 games. And the only time where Jack Madgen got consistent footy was in those same years, 2020, 2021. And in 2018 and 2019, he only played 4 games in both those years. So I don't know what we're trying to draw up there. By the way, can we talk about how much Ash Johnson has turned a corner since coming back? His pressure's been really good, really surprising in the VFL, and he's kicking goals. He's healthy now. Good for him. Is he anywhere near the conversation of AFL discussions right now? Probably not. Probably not. Something crazy would need to happen. But I'm just glad for him that he's back and hopefully enjoying his footy. Chris, how are you, mate? Hope you're doing well. And tomorrow's my happy birthday for tomorrow, my friend. Happy birthday. How old are you turning, Chris? Bobby, maybe back this week. He was at training last Thursday. I think he trained maybe twice last week. So whether he's available this week or not is another thing. But he was at training last week. Can confirm. It's not worth the risk playing Daicos for the rest of the season. When you say the rest of the season, are you implying that he shouldn't play finals? Or are you saying rest him or get him ready for the finals and have him not play the home and away season? I think if you're referring to the latter, I would argue that Daicos has to play a couple of home and away games to get that AFL match conditioning before we get into the final series. James Heard was super complimentary about how we were coached last night. That's good. People want the Manny, the man. People want Manny. Shall we bring him in? Let's get his opinion. The crowd gets what the crowd wants. We'll do Manny. Let's see, is he in here? Let me get into this lobby. Boy said a Manny. Where are you, Manny? Come on. Here he is. Ella, mate.
Malaka.
Ja, so viele.
Malaka, what are you doing, buddy? You feeling better?
Yeah, man. Went to Oriental, now I'm all good, yeah?
You're volcanoing. All fucking, all show. I could see ya. I
couldn't stop.
Volcanoing. You're about to erupt. Like an Empower truck on the screen.
I couldn't stop, man. I had three plates of some meat at the G before the game, and I was struggling the whole night.
Yeah, but it should have made you throw up. So something was off. Something had minor. It was something minor. Something was off.
No, well, I can't burp. I can't burp, so I think the gas just filled up in my stomach, and I needed to somehow get rid of that gas, so it came by way of a vomit.
Well, bloated. You're bloated.
I don't know, man. Some shit like that.
Also, you copped it bad. Also, you got gastro or something.
Yeah, I was gone quick, man. Anyways, what's going on? Where's your head at?
What's going on there? What's happening there? Watch the replay back. Fucking pathetic. What are we talking about?
Go on.
What are we talking about? What are we talking about?
Talk to me about Ned Long. I don't think his name's been spoken about much. What did you gather from Ned?
Ned Long played well, bro.
Yep.
I was watching him closely on purpose to see the difference between Ned Long and Mitchell. I was picturing having Mitchell in there instead of Ned Long. But Ned Long's quicker. Ned Long's quick and he busts through the packs. What he does is when he grabs the ball, he lifts his hands up and he gets that handball release.
Yeah.
You know, and Mitchell's got a problem. He just puts the ball on the boot and smashes it forward.
So tell me about Fly's comment post game. He said we're gonna Tom Mitchell was managed. It sounded like he's gonna play this week. Did you hear that?
Yeah, he might play him against Richmond and rest another player. He might rest someone else because we're playing Richmond. He might bring him in for Richmond, and he might rest the midfielder. Maybe Pendles
or Nick,
because Pendles played a full game last week, and he was a sub against the Gold Coast, so they might rest Pendles, get him ready for Brisbane. So they might give Mitchell another game, but we should be all right against Richmond. But they've got their ball movement. They've got their ball movement moving good now because they've got used to their system now. It's been nearly a whole year of footy, and they're used to their system now. The young kids, and they're moving the ball well. So we've got to watch them closely. I watched them against West Coast, and they demolished them.
So then, can we afford to manage players then in this case?
Well, what are we managing fucking players for? What have we become a fucking? Have we become a what do you call it, a rest home, a pensioners home, mate? If we're going to rest players every 2 weeks, man, we might as well delist them, bro. They're AFL footballers. What are we resting players every week for?
You're the one just saying, oh, Pendlebury, maybe we'll manage him.
Yeah, but Pendlebury's 37, bro. He's one of our best midfielders. We're talking about other players here. Well, what are we resting Membry for? What we've become the family club all of a sudden? Oh, fuck premierships. Nah, don't worry about premierships now. Just have a kid and go home and stay home and get paid 20 grand and stay with your newborn baby. Mate, these players, they should be only resting one more time after the bye. They should be only resting one more fucking time. Why are they resting 4 or 5 games for? I don't understand that. What if they need to be rested that much? You might as well delist them. You might as well get a young kid in, and give him game time.
Fair point.
Because when you rest them, what happens is they get rusty, right? They get rusty, and plus our connection goes missing because there's too much chopping and changing, bro. We've got to settle the side down. The only player I'm bringing back in is Jordan De Goey. I'm bringing all the normal players back in, and then I'm putting the icing on the cake, and I'm bringing the Raging Bull back, Geordie, because Geordie's called a game breaker. Geordie's a game breaker. That's what kind of player he is. He breaks games open. So there's got to be no more resting players. This is the last week against Richmond that any players should be rested because we're 80% chance of winning the game. We should get that job done easily.
Need to. Rick makes a good point in the chat. Players had a mid-season break and then a 9-day break off the Gold Coast game, and then we have another bye before this final series. So what's going on?
Remember, you spoke about it. We had 28. You spoke about it. Either you spoke about it or someone else. I heard during the bye to our next game. I think it was 28 days. They had a whole month off football, all of them.
Yeah. I could see a case for the Gold Coast game, but I feel like the line should have been drawn after Gold Coast, where we say, nah, Freo, like they're a great side, they're in form. We're not. I think all last week we were talking about how we're not clear, like we're not top 2 clear yet. So let's act like we're not clear and play our best side if possible.
Bro, we all knew, put it this way, we all knew against Gold Coast it was 50-50. We all knew that. Right? But against Fremantle, we beat them up there. We should have given it to Fremantle, and there was no need to rest Membry. They should have told Membry, you know what I would have said? I said, Membry, you had your kid on Monday. What we're going to do is we're going to play against Fremantle because we want to stretch the defenders. And what we're going to do is we'll play you this week against Fremantle, and then next week against Richmond because the defense they're not as good as Fremantle. We're going to rest you against Richmond and should have given him a week off next week. But if we're resting Membry now, every 2nd or 4th week, he's got 1 more year left on his contract. How many rests does he need next year? Well, is he going to rest half a season?
Look, it's worked for the most part. I'm just saying the line in the sand should have been last week, but it has to be now. I don't want to be seeing players brackets managed against Richmond. What will you do? What will you do if you see Pendlebury brackets managed, or okay, maybe not Pendlebury, but someone else managed? What are you doing?
Put it this way. Membry managed doesn't bother me one bit because Membry's not. Pendlebury's not managed. Even when Pendlebury's managed, he's not managed. You know what he is?
What?
What is Pendlebury? If Pendlebury's not on the field and he's managed, what is Pendlebury? You tell me. Exactly. So Pendlebury's never managed. Pendlebury's an assistant coach. Number 1. Number 2. I'd rather manage Pendlebury now to the end of the season even, and get Pendlebury in
That's where you
finals.
lose me, man. What you wanna rest him for the rest of the home and away games? The jokes.
I'll rest him two more times. Two more times I'll rest him until finals. Because I guarantee you, if we don't have Pendlebury on the ground in finals, we're not winning fuck all. Pendlebury's the one. He's the one that organises everything, and he's the one that dictates, mate. He's critical for us, Pendlebury. Did you see what happened against Gold Coast when he come on? He adjusted everything. He's an adjuster, mate. He adjusts things.
Yeah. Yeah,
But,
you're confusing me though, Malaka. You're talking management, no management, but you're okay. Pendlebury's the exception to the rule. Is that so?
Yes. Pendlebury's exception to the rule because the bloke's 37, bro. He's 37 there. He's what is he? He's 5 years older than the rest of them. 3-4 years older than the rest of them. He's our most critical player. Nick's important, but Pendlebury, he's critical. He's critical, mate. Pendlebury.
How many years do you reckon you've been watching Scotty for?
Since he started there.
And
his first goal against Brisbane.
And you still pronounce you pronounce him like a form of a berry.
Pendlebury.
Nah,
Pendlebury, his name is.
Pendlebury,
yeah. Pendlebury. It's Pendlebury. That's it. Pendlebury there.
Yeah.
It's like Membry, but it's got a P and a DLE at the end.
Just respect the man, okay, and say his surname properly. I've
watched Pendlebury play every game of his career, Malaka. Every game I've seen him play. That told me who I respect, buddy.
What else you got for me, Malaka?
What else? Hey, let me tell you something. Don't worry about Richmond this week. They've got a good defence. They've got all their premiership defenders playing. And they're going to was a daytime game. That Noel Bolter's coming back because he's not on curfew. So Noel Bolter's coming back. They've got all the premiership defenders in. So it's not going to be easy to bust the defence.
Mm.
But if
they beat West Coast comprehensively, didn't they, in Perth?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say to you. What happens to young sides is the first few games of the season, until they get their system and the AFL, until they get used to AFL and the speed of the game, they're a bit shaky. They might win one game, they'll drop 3 in a row, they'll win another game. But as the year goes on and they get used to their system because they've been training it starts falling into place. So they play like us. I watched them against West Coast on purpose because I knew we were playing them next week. Their system is like ours. They got that forward handball. What they do is they got the forward handball and they cut angles and they go straight towards forward 50. But their forwards, their tall forwards are not as good. They're not as good. So our defenders should be able to cover them. They got young key forwards. They got that Jonty Ford and they got that Sims and they got that what's his name? Kozinski, whatever his name is, back in.
Jacob Kozinski, yeah.
So that's their forwards, but they've got a couple small forwards. They've got that Mansell, they've got that quick Mansell, the one
Maurice,
that done the
Rioli's looking good.
Yeah, Rioli's quick, so yeah, don't worry. And they've got a few midfielders back. They got a Taranto, they got Hopper, so don't worry, they've got a few good players in there, mate.
Prestia,
yeah, the meat boys in there.
Just can't underestimate them. Simple as that. We always say this every week, don't we?
Just get the job done and get out of there, man, and get ready for Brisbane. It's critical now, man. We can't lose top 2. I'm worried about losing top 2 now. I'm getting 2022 vibes. How we made top 4 and we had to go to Sydney and play Sydney and we lost by a point. I'm getting those vibes now.
At the level we're playing at, is that what you're implying?
The level we're playing at, and I don't think we've got the horsepower at the moment. I don't think we've got the horsepower or where it's connected to go away to either Brisbane or Adelaide and beat them in a final.
Okay. It's a bit early. We've still got a little bit more water to go under the bridge before we get there, right? And if we get there, hopefully we do secure top 2. Are you talking about the games coming up in the home and away?
No. I'm talking about finals. Don't worry about the games that are coming up.
But don't worry about potentially traveling to Adelaide or Brisbane and having to play them in finals. Let's get these games wrapped up and get the win, mate.
Listen, we got Richmond this week. We get the job done. We go back ahead of the ledger against Richmond. All the other teams have played Richmond, so we're going to get those 4 points, right? We get those 4 points. We go ahead of the ledger again. Melbourne, we've got Melbourne still. We should get the job done on Melbourne. They're not playing for anything. We get those 4 points. We go two and a half games clear. Then there's 3 games left. We've got Brisbane, Hawthorn, and Adelaide in Adelaide. We usually beat Adelaide in Adelaide. So even if we drop 3 games and win the 2 against Richmond and Melbourne, we should finish second on the ladder, because this week Brisbane's playing Gold Coast in Gold Coast. So I think they'll lose that. Brisbane will lose that.
But you don't want to be 2-7 going. If we are 2-7 going to the finals, that's tough, man.
It doesn't matter as long as we 1 or 2 on the ladder, bro, and we get a home final.
Yeah, but form is important as well. You can't ignore that.
Yeah, but when finals comes around, it's a whole new season, bro. It starts from the start again. I'm telling you,
bro. I'm telling you, yeah. Collingwood's end to the season in 2023, that was an outlier. When teams normally have a form slump going into the final series as a top 2, top 3, top 4 side, usually they don't win the flag. We were an outlier in 2023, so we're not going to hinge our hopes on going 2-7, winning only 2 of our last 5 again, and hoping it's going to be 2023 again, because that was an anomaly.
You're wrong, my friend. That's why you think differently than me. It's not an outlier. You know what it was?
Well, give me some Collingwood blueprint shit. Go, give me something.
It was a confidence builder, my friend. It was a confidence builder because they've been there and done that before. They know it happened last time. So even if we lose a couple games now, they're not worried. We've done it before, buddy. It's a confidence builder now. The boys already know that, buddy. Like we do, exactly like we do. There's some comments on your channel that people are saying it's like 2023. We dropped a couple games. The boys know that they've done it before. It's confidence building. It's nothing to worry about.
All right.
It's like now. Do you see the meat? Like you know how you know? You don't see the media now talking on their media channels. Oh, Collingwood, they lost 2 in a row now. They can't win the flag, because even the media knows that in 2023 we lost 3 games in a row or something, and we still won the flag. So they can't say that now. See, because I know it happened last time.
All right.
See, anyway, it's getting very, very, very juicy now. Everything's on a knife edge, mate.
Malaka. Binaldora.
All right, Malaka.
All right.
Get we'll simmer. We should just simmer for this week against Richmond. I think we'll get the job done. It'll be all right, man.
Yeah,
we'll get the job done.
Still too early in the week to G up. Just take it easy, yeah?
Yeah, too early in the week to G up. We don't need to G up against Richmond. We know we can get the job done. If we lose to Richmond today, just pack it up. I'm telling you, pack it up. Simple. If we lose to Richmond, there's something going on. Simple.
The Pendlebury. Cigare, yeah. Pendlebury.
Pendlebury. See you, mate.
Pendlebury, yeah.
Stop going to put a mask on when you walk in there.
You hustle, mate.
Yeah.
Oh, what a character. Love him. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for sticking around for the fan takeaways. We'll see you tomorrow for Pies Presser /Predictor 23. And as always, go Pies.